Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I am Oliver Suarez, and welcome to The Gathering. Wow, it's been a little bit since I've actually spoken into a microphone. I am here with Madam Rachel Chavier, former assistant principal of Furnace Brook Middle School. She came to Dartmouth to become an English teacher in 1997, and was English department chair in 2007. And then at some point became assistant principal. So, hi, welcome.
I wasn't sure when I should speak.
No, you should talk at any point. This is a full
I didn't want to interrupt
interview.
you. I have to say, this is quite high tech in here. I feel very, very special. And Oliver is amazing. He's just in his element, and I don't feel like I'm with a student. I feel like I'm with a professional radio host. So thank you so much for having me today.
It's a pleasure to have you. I actually would like to start out with your family, because we don't hear a lot about that, and I'm pretty sure that's might be intentional or unintentional, or just really never something you wanted to bring up before.
Well, my family lives in Fall River. My aunts, my cousins, my sister. I'm very, very close to my family. My son attends Bridgewater. He's 20 years old. He's going to be 21 in December. I don't talk about him all the time. I talk about him a little more just because he wanted to be private. But he's come by school and he's talked to Mr. Tebow and really enjoys hanging out with him. He worked for a mason this summer. He worked really hard, and he's going for a degree in biology, and he is hoping to pursue BioMed or biotech. He's not quite sure. He's still trying to find himself.
Yeah, he doesn't want to follow in the footsteps of his mother, just becoming with the teaching segment.
No, not yet. I can't help but think that he may end up in some kind of a career like mine, because he's very social, he's empathetic, he cares about people. One thing about my son, his name is Jacob, he never has a negative word to say about anyone. And he's had some struggles, and people respect him. He's 6'5", so that may have a little something to do with it. But he's my son, but he's an amazing person. And I just love to talk about him. So I moved to Dartmouth a few years ago, and it's great to be back in the community and to have my son with me. And he's a junior right now at Bridgewater. So,
yeah, you said he was going for a biotech major, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, biology right now, but then he's going to have to pursue biotech or biomed.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
What about your siblings, or do you have any?
I have a sister. My sister is 4 years younger than I am. Her name is Miranda, and we are super close. My dad passed away 3 years ago, and my sister and I were very, very close to my dad. My mom died when I was 6, and my sister was 2. So we had a very tight-knit family. My dad was there. He sacrificed a lot for both me and my sister, and it wasn't easy. And I lived upstairs with my dad and my sister above my vovô and my vovô, who were my world. And they would take really good care of us. My vovô would make us pancakes on Sunday mornings, and she kind of stepped in as a mom for the two of us. So losing my dad a few years ago was very difficult for me, and my sister and I have become even closer, because through high school and middle school we always fought. We're 4 years apart, so we never agreed on anything.
Did you guys need to lean on each other during that time of strife, or was it more of an individual journey for both of you?
I want to say it was an individual journey for us, probably throughout elementary through high school. College, we started to get closer. Now I would say the journey we share, and we lean on each other a lot.
How did she affect you growing up?
My sister?
Yes.
She affected me in that I felt like I needed to look out for her. We didn't have the mom, and I felt as the big sister I needed to look out for her and protect her and tell my dad when I thought she was making bad decisions, not because I wanted to snitch on her, but because I cared about her. I cared about her, and I didn't want to see her get in trouble. So I always kind of felt like I had a sense of responsibility for her. Now we're kind of on equal footing, I would say, but I can't help but feel like I'm the big sister still. And I have to catch myself and step back and say, okay, Miranda, you're grown up now, so I'm just going to step back. So, yeah, that's been the role. It's been a great relationship, and I don't know what I'd do without her.
Do you have any like weird tales or stories about anything that your sister might have done, or you have done?
Well, a lot. I don't really.
Oh.
I have to think about it.
No, because
my sister, she'd probably get mad if I said this, but she would sneak out at night to like see her boyfriends and stuff. I probably shouldn't say this, but one night she took my dad's car and I heard the car leaving the driveway, and I woke up my dad. I said, "Oh my gosh, Miranda left the house," and he said, "Your sister would never do that." And he looked out and the car was gone. She was very bold, my sister. She was fearless, and we had to go out and get her. But that was quite the story. She got away with it, though. I find like younger siblings tend to get away with a lot more than older siblings. I'm sure many of you can relate to that.
I can relate to that.
I was the one that always got caught.
My little brother gets away with everything.
Yeah, and that's how it was for me. Yeah.
But when did you first start feeling a desire to get an education? Because you did talk about how you felt you wanted to be protective over your sister, and I kind of made the connection to that to education.
You connect the dots well, Oliver. Thank you. Well, it's funny because on my dad's side of the family, I was the first one to go to college and to actually graduate from college. So when I went to college, my dad, he didn't want me to go. I was going to a private school up on the North Shore called Gordon. And when I went, I wanted to be a teacher. And my dad was like, "No, you can't go far away. You need to go to SMU," which is UMass Dartmouth now, so I'm showing my age. And I said, "No, I want to go away to school." So he let me go, and I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I decided I wanted to be a teacher when I was a junior in high school. I had this amazing English teacher. Her name was Mrs. Terrian. And she had us do presentations on a book that we were reading. And the book that I was presenting was To Kill a Mockingbird. And it made an impact on me because Atticus, my dad just reminded me so much of Atticus. And I felt like Scout. And they didn't have a mom. So I kind of related to that story. And I love the whole theme of walking in someone else's shoes. So when I did that presentation, I realized, gee, I liked this. I was up in front of my peers and I wasn't scared. And I said, I can make an impact in someone's life and I could be an English teacher. So at that time, I decided right then and there that I was going to be an English teacher.
Would you say that was like the click moment when everything just started to flow together and you just completely understood, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is what I'm happy doing.
Well, I don't know if I thought for the rest of my life, but I said, aha, I think I know what I want to do. And I was a director of a day camp that summer. And the following summer, my senior year of high school and throughout college. So I knew that I wanted to work with kids. I felt like when I was in school, most of my education, I felt lost. I felt lost in the crowd. I was very shy, believe it or not, I know. I was very, very shy, very insecure. I had one really good friend, which, that's all you really need in life. And she's still one of my best friends since fourth grade, but I'm rambling, sorry. So,
that's what we're here for. Rambling is great.
So where was I?
Where were you?
I don't know. I forget. I forget where I was. So I was.
So like affecting you with school, like.
Oh, it's my school experience. I felt very lost and insecure. I didn't connect with any of my teachers. So when I was a junior, I decided, I want to make a difference in kids' lives. I want to be that teacher or educator that talks to kids, knows them by name, reaches out to them, talks to them, gets to know them. And I thought English was the best venue to do that because you can talk about characters and books and kids connect with stuff like that.
So basically anything but a college professor.
Yeah, maybe someday I'll be a college professor. You never know.
Can you be my English teacher, please? I read up when you went into Furnace-Brook Middle School that they were already doing some charity work. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, Furnace-Brook Middle School was amazing with fundraising. They did a lot with the Jimmy Fund. And while I was there, I had the pleasure of meeting Jose Martinez, Red Sox, and also Sultan Buca. He's a baseball player as well. I don't think they play anymore. But I met them, and we raised quite a bit of money. I forget now. I think they've met the $100,000 mark by now. And we also raised money. We had a one book, one school initiative where everyone read the same book, and we were able to raise money for a well in Sudan. The book was A Long Walk to Water. So to this day, there's a well in Sudan with little engraved plaque on it that reads Furnace Brook Middle School.
Can you talk a little bit about the Jimmy Fund?
I don't know a lot about it, but they did a lot with that at Furnace Brook Middle School, and it was raising money for Jim. I'm not sure the exactly, but
guys, you can just Google it.
Yeah,
that's what it's there for. I also did read, and I found this kind of funny when I first saw it. You did some cameos in the school plays.
Oh no!
Back at Furnace Brook.
Did you see the pictures?
I didn't see the pictures, but I heard the stories about about how you played the Grinch. And
yes, I had to paint my face green. Maureen Kemet was an assistant principal with me, and we had to be the Grinch. We were mortified. We had to put the green all over our faces and put on the wig. And actually, a student got in trouble during the play, and I had to go out and speak to the mom with my face painted green. It was very embarrassing, and it was very difficult to be taken seriously as I walked out there in a Grinch costume.
But I can imagine what your wonderful acting on the stage.
Yes, I was amazing. You know what? I played another cameo as well, and I can't remember what it was now. I'm getting old. I can't remember things. It's not good.
Speaking of on the topic of Furnace Brook Middle School, when you were there, did you ever have an experience that just kind of just shocked you and made you seem like just changed you in personality or in just thought process?
Well, it was my first administrative position, and you don't realize the different stakeholders that you have to deal with as an administrator. You have the parents, you have the teachers, you have the student, you have the community at large, you have the superintendent. So it was a real eye-opener for me when I was approaching parents to understand what they were dealing with as parents. And a lot of times they just needed to be heard. And they're frustrated at times too. So I always want to fix things. So it was a real eye-opener to know that sometimes you just sit and listen. And that's a real important skill to learn as a leader. Has
being a parent helped you in understanding that?
Oh, absolutely. It really has. But I have to say that as a parent, I probably had to go into my son's school once to talk to an administrator. It was when he was in high school. He had made a bad decision, and I just had to go in and talk to Mr. Parker, who was the vice principal at the time. And, of course, ORR was great. Jacob went there. He went to RMS. Loved that. The school district was wonderful. But as a parent, I had to go in, and I always avoided it because I didn't want to be seen as that, angry teacher mom who's going to go in and throw around her weight. So I really, maybe one time I had to go in and talk to someone. But it's made me realize I know what school administrators go through, and it's tough. It's difficult. So the last thing I want to do is be one of those angry parents.
No, it's not my kid's fault. It's all the teacher's fault.
No. And parents are looking out for their kids. I mean, I became Mama Bear, and I get when parents come in and they're advocating for their children. I mean, those are their babies. When I look out, when I was doing freshman orientation this summer, and I saw all the freshmen and transfer students in front of me, had a moment. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I had a moment where everybody was just like back, 2 or 3 years old. I mean, they're the apple of their parents' eyes. Like, you're special, and I can see why parents advocate for their kids.
Yeah, because you've seen this little ball of human has just grown into this larger thing that you just still want to protect them like you're their small child. I'm not a parent, obviously, hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't think I am.
When I look at my son now, he's still my baby. He's going to be 21. But
So when you first came to Dartmouth Middle School, what was your initial impression on the school system in Dartmouth as a whole?
Well, there's a little story to that. I worked in Catholic school for about 8 years before I came to Dartmouth, and I loved it. And at that time, there weren't a lot of jobs in education, and I started as a middle school teacher. I didn't think I was old enough or mature enough to teach high school, so I went to Catholic school and I taught middle school and said, I had my son, I got pregnant with my son, and I was home, and I said, I think I'll go by Dartmouth Middle because it was right down the street at the time, and see if I can sub just to check out the school, see what kind of system it is. So I went in one day and I met Janice Sharp, who was a dean here a few years ago. She was just stepping in for someone that had left. And she and I just hit it off. And Mr. Hickey, Jerry Hickey, he was the principal at Dartmouth Middle at the time. And I was just so struck by their professionalism and their empathy and their enthusiasm for kids. So I started to sub, and to make a long story short, the subbing position became a long-term sub, and then I got hired. So it was great. I was very impressed with the district, the school, the people, the kids. The kids were amazing. They were just excited, and I knew it was the place where I needed to be.
So when you were in the middle school and or moving up to the high school, did you really notice any issues or problems that you just felt the desire to solve or to resolve in an adequate way?
Well, when I was teaching 8th grade, there was an opening. It was just a 1-year position at the high school for English, and I said, maybe I'll just try it out for a year. I'll graduate with my 8th graders and go up to the high school and see what it's like. I just wanted to see, the transition between 8th and 9th grade, to see if we were preparing our students properly. So when I got up to the high school, I was like, wow, this is a great place too. And I could see some of the things that, at the middle school we should have done differently, and things at the high school that could be done to help freshmen transition, which ironically I'm in charge of that right now. So I'm in the right place. The freshman orientation. Yep. So I didn't see any major issues. It was just, I could see that it was a scary thing for 8th graders going into the 9th grade, and they need the support from some kind of a mentor and teachers.
So right now, the school is going through a pretty big change with the schedule and with the entirely different format and the new classes. What would you say is the larger student response, or like the current state of affairs, I guess, in a way?
Well, it's funny. I've talked to more than a couple of students, and most of the students say that they like it. They like that they're moving more. They like that in the class there's more of a sense of urgency, and there's not a lot of downtime. Some students have said that they just feel they're moving too quickly and they don't have enough time to transition between classes. But overall, kids have said that it's not as bad as they thought it was going to be.
Yeah, even in my personal experience, it's been...
Yeah, I'm curious. How do you feel?
Initially, I didn't like the schedule changes, and to an extent, I still kind of don't. And I don't...
What year are you?
I'm a senior.
Right, so that's hard for you. Juniors and seniors, I feel your pain.
But the issue I'm having is the 3-minute passing time, and that's pretty much it. Because I'm always like, I usually try and get the place where I want to go, but if I stop and say hello to a teacher who I haven't seen in like half a year, and then I don't, and then I just... even by just a minute, is having a hard time getting across. But overall, I understand like the value of this and how students who maybe don't have as large of an attention span can easily just shift this from one class to another, and then it's constantly changing, so they constantly are paying attention.
And something that you said kind of resonated with me. I feel like students are managing their time better. Because when you only have 3 minutes, you think ahead, you prepare, and you're on your way. So I just want to commend the students. I think they're doing a tremendous job in managing their time, and I don't know, it just seems like it's a good thing right now.
So you've been in school systems for a number of years, and it's just
29.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's longer than I've been alive. But
thanks, Oliver.
No. Look, age is wisdom. I am not as wise as you.
Age is wisdom. I like that. Not all the time, but yep. Hopefully I've learned something along my way.
What is like a major experience that really has resonated with you? Like, there probably you probably heard thousands upon thousands of student stories and different things here and there, but what's something that really resonated with you and changed your perception?
My perception of who I am as a person, my perception of who I am as in education.
Option D, all of the above.
Okay.
That's a big question.
I think that one thing that I've learned, and I can thank Mr. Tebow, is that we are all capable of great things. And I have always been one of those people, I'm not good at math, or I'm not good at this, or maybe, I need a little more time to be a better leader. And really, it takes work and effort and perseverance and always striving to learn and to do better. And if I'm not good at math, I'm not good at math yet. If I don't think I'm a good leader, I'm not a good leader yet. That's one thing that has really changed my perspective. I think I've always kind of pegged myself as a certain ability, and now I don't feel that way as much. I feel more empowered, and I feel like I can pretty much do anything if I put my mind to it, and it's important to me. And that if I've had failures in life, they help me to grow and to persevere. And life isn't easy. Life is hard. And I thought, when I was younger, up until about 30 years old, I thought life was supposed to be easy. Even though I had my trials when I was a child, I don't know. I didn't realize that, you had to really work hard at stuff. But you could do it.
Thank you very much for joining us, Ms. Chavier. But we have a few more things that that we would like to ask you before we.
I love this, so I can talk all afternoon.
So, this summer bash.
Yes.
What is it? When is it? What are we doing?
The Back to School Bash is just a way to get faculty and students together, and also mentors and their freshmen to come together before our first varsity football game. It will be held this Friday. It's will be in back of the stadium in the middle school field where the track is. We have several inflatables like we had at the after prom. We'll have hamburgers and hot dogs. It starts at 5:30, and it's for high school students and faculty members. And it will end at 6:45 as we culminate the event walking onto the stadium together. And all the students will enter free of charge if they've attended the bash.
And that is on the 15th.
Yes, the 15th. Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope to see all of you there. I know I'm probably going to go.
Oh, good. I hope so. We'll have some face painting. So if you want to get into the school spirit for the game.
Is it going to be green?
Yeah, they'll be green. Mr. Tebow did this in one of his schools, so I don't want to take credit for this idea. He's the one that was like, hey, we should do an after-school bash. So we're a good team, and I'd like his fresh new ideas and his perspective, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that this becomes a tradition.
Thank you very much for joining us, Ms. Chavier.
You're welcome, Oliver. Thank you.
We will see you all next week for whatever else we do on this show. I haven't really planned it out yet. We're just going to figure it out as we go along. I'll see you guys later.